Hey, hello everyone.
Here he is.
Me and Dan are back again.
Hey,
That's the main man.
we're back again. Yeah,
Back
week
again, mate.
week off because I had the bloody flu or COVID
Yeah.
or cold or whatever the hell shit was. But yeah, we're back. Oh,
Yeah, it's nice to be back. A lot has happened, mate. A lot has
nice to
happened
be back.
since we last spoke.
I mean, if you think about it, it's only really 3 days later than what it usually is. It's usually a Sunday. Obviously, it's Wednesday today. It's absolutely fucking roasting, isn't it?
Oh, it's so hot. Yeah, it's really warm. It's really warm, man.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's only 3 days later, and it feels like since we spoke 10 days ago, the world of wrestling has changed.
I know, it's weird, isn't it? It is strange.
Yeah, it's mad how much has changed.
So much has happened inside like a small space of time.
It's going to be a busy hour, I think, mate. It's going to be a busy hour.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where do you want to start? I mean,
yeah, I think it's AEW, isn't it? It's got to be. It's got to be.
Yeah, it's got,
because of
yeah, I agree.
Just what they've done. Obviously, All Out was a really good pay-per-view. Probably their best pay-per-view. I think they've done their best one. It had everything. So, but yeah, I was go on.
No, go on.
No, I was going to say that I was surprised with Adam Cole turning up.
Yeah, I was gutted. Yeah, see, Daniel Bryan's a funny one for me because as much as look, in my opinion, Daniel Bryan's one of the best wrestlers to ever live. I think he's 100% is in that. He's definitely in that category. He's got to be in that conversation of one of the best of all time. But I have got. Let me throw it to you another way. What more could he have achieved at WWE?
Well, this is I don't know.
What challenge was there for him? He's won everything. He's held both belts at the same time with Miracle on Bourbon Street, which will never be encapsulated like that ever again. He's main evented WrestleManias. He's been in massive tag teams. He's won tag team championships. He's Intercontinental champion. Multiple WWE title reigns. I don't think there's anything else for him to achieve at WWE. And I meant to send it you. Shit, have you seen his comments in the press release with Tony Khan after it? Have you seen what he said?
Yeah. Well, I heard what he said about like Vince McMahon and stuff like that, saying that he had nothing but praise for Vince McMahon, but he was overprotective. And he was like, I want to push myself. And they were like, well, we want to protect you, or we don't want you hurting yourself anymore. But saying that he wanted to come out as a wrestler and he wants to wrestle. Yeah, go on.
But where do you fall on that? Because we're both wrestling fans and we're both dads, and you've got 2 little girls, he's got 2 little girls, I've got 1 little girl.
Yeah.
Nat is very much like, Vince was protecting him because he's got children, and if Daniel Bryan was allowed to just do whatever he wanted, he'd end up killing himself. But at the same time,
what he wanted to do. Yeah, like he said, didn't he? He turned around and said that he wanted to do more, but WWE wouldn't allow it because they wanted to protect him.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like, Daniel Bryan's a grown-ass man, and you've got to trust him that he's not going to put his life, he's not going to do anything that he deems unsafe when he's got 2 little girls and a wife at home. But this is Daniel Bryan, right? If you've watched his career, this is a guy who will do anything, who wants to push himself to the limits, because I think people like him and people like Punk and people, they only feel alive when they're right on that edge of pushing themselves too far. And I think that's what he wants. He wants at AEW. He knows that he'll be allowed to do what pretty much whatever he wants in that ring.
Yeah,
and that's what he wants to do. And he couldn't have really been any more. How do I word this? He couldn't have been any nicer with the way he spoke about WWE and Vince. He was very, complimentary and stuff.
I think he also understands as well. You've got to think he's quite smart, so he knows if he badmouths them, that could come out wrong. And all that sort of stuff. He knows that he's going to come back, and they will. That's what I get from a lot of this. We've now got the two companies, which are really good competition, but I reckon they're going to switch. There's loads of sides going to switch it all the time. I do believe Daniel Bryan will come back. And I think a few of the guys that left will come back as well. But yeah, he wants to go and do. He wants to do more, doesn't he? He wants to wrestle and stuff like that. WWE were obviously not just holding him back, but they were obviously like, look, it only takes one accident, one bad fall, and that's it. That's it. We've got that'll be it. You will never be able to step in the ring again. Do you really want that? Do you still want to be able to have the ability to go out there and do stuff, or not? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think. Look, we've said this many times. Both me and you enjoy both, but if we had to pick a side, we probably would both pick the WWE side, mainly just because it's what we've watched for so long. You kind of feel loyal to it, but I'm not naive and I'm not stupid. And if Vince and WWE don't change, they will get left behind. If you're asking me what I think, Vince McMahon has reinvented WWE many times over the last 40 years. He knows what he's doing, and it will get better. And my only issue with all of this, and it's my one concern as a WWE fan, is Vince. And honestly, people are gonna think I'm a fucking conspiracy nut or whatever, and I don't care. I would bet every penny in my bank that Vince is the way he is now because of Chris Benoit and what happened. And I think since then, he's gone, shit, I really need to start, paying more attention. But he's not involved in everything because then, CM Punk got Mercer, John Moxley or Dean Ambrose, as he was known in WWE. When he was playing Dean Ambrose on WWE, he got a full-on staph infection, MRSA in his elbow, and nearly fucking died. And that was because WWE wouldn't give him time off to rest and heal. So there are two sides of the coin where WWE sometimes are not strict enough, where they allow people, they run the performers. And the human beings at the end of the day, but they run them into the ground that hard. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Sunday pay-per-view, like house shows and all the traveling. And they all have to wrestle hurt because of how nuts their schedule is. And it's why, look at Mick Foley. Mick Foley's fucked now. And I know that it's because he was wrestling in the 90s in the hardcore era. And I understand all that. But at the same time, look at people from that generation. They're all fucked. They all look at Shawn Michaels. He can barely walk. And it is because of the ridiculous. Look at Jeff Hardy. Are you telling me that Jeff Hardy by the time he's 60 is not going to be in a fucking wheelchair? Of course he is. He can barely move now. And he's not even 50 yet. But my point is, yes, they did ridiculous stunts and stuff, but it's not just that. It's the toll on the body, the constant bumps, day in, day out, got injuries, and then going and putting on a 25, 30-minute long match with multiple injuries. The
problem is as well is that they also know if they don't appear on TV, they get forgotten. They're like, oh, I've really banged up my arm, and they're like, oh, you want time off? And they're like, no. No, I'll carry on. But no, if they don't get the TV time, they'll be forgotten. They'll be an
It
afterthought.
is, yeah. That is the problem now.
Oh, hang on a sec. Hang on a sec. Someone's trying to call me. Sorry about this.
Right.
Oh. Is that better? It just come up on my phone. So just anyway.
Fine.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So but yeah, with that's my problem with AEW is I think a lot of them are going to be left behind. There just isn't enough TV time to play them all. Everyone goes, oh, they've got a great roster, and they have got a great roster. That's it now. That's it, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, if let's just say for argument's sake that they do get Bray and Braun as well, right? Because that is the way it's looking, that they're going to get Bray and Braun as well. Say they get them too, because it is looking highly likely, right? I know that, you know what I mean, it can go one after the other. I'm not saying that, but AEW try and do things right. They don't give someone the belt for fucking 2 weeks. If Tony Khan and Cody Rhodes make the decision, you're our champion, they have that belt for a long time. And that's the way I think it should be. So let's say they now give the belt to CM Punk. Well, now what about Kenny Omega? What about Cody Rhodes? What about Darby Allin? What about John Moxley? What about Jericho? What about MJF? What about Sammy Guevara? But then, what about all these top guys? What about Miro? What about Adam Cole? What about Bray Wyatt, Braun Strowman, Bryan? They can't all, like, people think, oh my God, they're amazing, blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, but like, if it was me, right? If I was Adam Cole, I think Adam Cole has made the wrong choice professionally, but the right choice personally. He wants to spend more time with his fiancée. He had two options, AEW or move to Raw or SmackDown. If he moves to Raw or SmackDown, he's on the road. It's not NXT, he's on the road. So if Britt's at AEW and he's at Raw or SmackDown on the road, when's he ever going to see his soon-to-be wife? When's he going to see it? That's Adam. I think Adam Cole's gone, I want to spend more time with Britt. Fair play. For his career, I think he's made completely the wrong choice, because I'm telling you now, they would have strapped a fucking rocket ship on his ass and shot him to the top if they moved him to Raw or SmackDown. It'd have been everywhere, but that's the curse of it. If he knows if he'd have gone to Raw, he's that good, and Raw is crying out. As good as Lashley is, and as good as Roman is, Roman needs to drop the belt at some point. As good as they are, they give Adam Cole that belt, his face is going to be everywhere. They're going to want him on every show. He's never, ever going to see his wife, but he's going to have the career that he's dreamt of. At AEW, he's going to spend all this time with his wife and his best friends. Beautiful. His career is going to go that way because there's no time for him. Like, if you've got Adam Cole and this is what people aren't getting through the fucking thick skulls. I'm sick of people on Twitter that think they bloody, you know, oh, it's fine because of whatever, you know, just AEW's WWE shit, AEW's the best, blah, blah, blah. Adam Cole's going to do this. Right. So if Adam Cole is the champion or is in the title picture, what about every fucker else? I've just reeled off 20 names and there's 20 that I forgot that are good. You know, so like Omega, Kenny Omega for me is one of the best wrestlers on the planet. I think he's absolutely incredible. When he drops that belt, you watch him go. You won't see him. You'll barely see him, and when you do, it'll be. Look at Moxley now. Yes, we're seeing Moxley every week, but what they're doing with him, his matches are meaningless. They don't mean anything. Yeah. Like, it's just a 10-minute match. There's Mox. He hits the paradigm shift. Game over. 1, 2, 3. Cheers, guys. Night. Off he toddles back to the back. His matches don't mean anything. There's no story. He's just having a match for the sake of having him on TV. That will be Omega as soon as he drops this belt. So for everyone saying Adam Cole's going to do it, he's not. Because so if you're putting Adam Cole in that title picture, does that mean that you're not putting Punk or Bryan Danielson or Bray Wyatt or Canal, mate? I've not even mentioned Malachi Black yet.
That's what I mean.
Like, but I worry about MJF because he's young. I worry about Darby Allin because he's young. I worry about Sammy Guevara because they're young. Them three have the potential to be world class. The problem is Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, Malachi Black, Kenny Omega, Adam Cole, Miro. They're all going to be given that main spot over them.
Yeah.
Do you know what day I'm looking forward to, Kev? Do you know what day I'm really looking forward to? When WWE starts signing AEW talent, because that will happen, and soon.
Yeah, maybe. And well, I said to you, didn't I? You said to mention it. I think that AEW is the Man City of the wrestling world. Because I mean, they're just buying everyone, aren't they? They're buying everyone.
Oh, mate, when you said that to me earlier, I thought, Kev, that's the best analogy that I've heard in a long time. That is fantastic. It really is. They are. AEW are the Man City of the wrestling world. They're just throwing a shitload of cash at it. The difference is this time is they've got very good wrestling minds there as well. Like, TNA back in the day and Ring of Honor and stuff like that. Did they necessarily have the right minds there? To really use that money? I feel like, yes, they're using Tony Khan's money, but Tony Khan, like, it was CM Punk that said it. I've literally listened to it this morning. If you've not listened to it, check it out. CM Punk's second episode on Oral Sessions with Renee Paquette on YouTube. It's really interesting because what CM Punk said was, Tony Khan is like Vince McMahon. Like, he's the boss. Like, yes, Cody Rhodes and Arn Anderson and, yes, there's other people in that picture, but it is Tony Khan, just like it is Vince McMahon. But what Punk said was, you've not got to go through 15 different channels like you do to Vince, where you get told, go and see him, go and see him, go and see him. It'll take you 3 hours before you finally get to, speak to Vince, who's the only guy that can either say yes or no at the end of the day. Tony Khan is so approachable. Anyone can go to him and go, Tony, in my promo, can I say this? And he'll go, yeah, great, or no, I don't like that. You can go to him and talk to him. Even though he's busy, he'll go, right, you've got 10 seconds, go. And he'll give them a yes or no. He's so much more direct, and he's the guy in the chair that is saying yes or no. But it gives a lot of them, more freedom. He trusts in his talent. He says, so not everybody, if Darby Allin said, oh, I don't know what to say on my promo, he might go to Tony, but I think what AEW have, which is brilliant, is that they have a kind of locker room that they had in WWE back in the day where you could go, have a look at Edge. Like, you go and speak to countless NXT guys that have said Edge has had an impact on their career, where he's been there for them and gave them advice and help. And Cena exactly the same. Interesting ones for me is Becky Lynch. She said people don't realize Brock Lesnar. Like, she asked him a question before the WrestleMania main event, and he was talking to her for like 20 minutes, and then she was like, I've always been, why do people not go to you more? And he went, people never ask me. I'm here. If you want to know anything or you want advice, I'm here. But no one ever. Everyone has that image of Brock of him being unapproachable, but he's clearly not. I think AEW, they have CM Punk, they have Daniel Bryan, they have Kenny Omega, Cody Rhodes, they have Chris Jericho. Fuck me, they have that many guys. Sting. Oh my, right. Stop naming names now. They've got that many guys that they can go to for advice. They don't need Tony, right?
Yeah.
But so they all seem to help each other out, which is for me is really, really good. But I think having the difference is younger people might need more help and stuff. But if this is CM Punk or Daniel Bryan or Chris Jericho, Tony Khan will just turn around to them and go, "You're fucking Chris Jericho. You know what you're doing. There's your mic. Go out and talk."
Yeah.
Like, people, Malachi Black, who was never given the creative, like, every Twitch stream was done since he's left WWE. He said WWE Creative wouldn't give him creative control over his character. They fought against him at every single turn. AEW won't do that. But Tony Khan will go, you have a genius mind for this. Go out and do whatever you want. Go out and say whatever you want. He has trust in them. Now people of me and you spoke about it here. People can be disrespectful of it or talk down on it because of obviously the guy on AEW Dark that made the comment about that rape case, and things have come through the crack by Tony being too trusting. But at the same time, I'd rather every now and then something happen and Tony go, "You don't fucking make that mistake again, otherwise you're gone." I'd rather that, but him give them the chance to screw up, but give them freedom, than the way WWE doing it, where everything's just controlled. And obviously, I'm sure you've seen the Mick Foley comments. I think, was it you that put it on the group, the Mick Foley stuff?
Yeah.
I usually disagree with a lot of the AEW warriors. I've actually agreed with them this morning. It's the first time where I've gone, fuck, you're right. This coming from Mick Foley hurts WWE. It does, because this isn't Big Show or Mark Henry, who have gone over to the dark side.
Yeah.
It's like people going, CM Punk has said this about WWE. Of course he does. He fucking hates them. Of course he slagged them off. But they're going, oh, well, if CM Punk said it, it's true. Or maybe CM Punk is still bitter because of the way that he was treated. And I agree with Punk. The way that he was treated was shocking. But he's bitter towards them. This is coming from Mick Foley. When Mick Foley's saying what he said, you've kind of got to go, fucking hell, WWE are in trouble.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on the Foley comments?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. There is a problem in WWE at the moment, and it's obviously a creative problem because they've got the talent. It's like someone at the wheel but haven't got a license. They know how to drive, but they haven't got the license, and that's what I think WWE is at the moment. Is that they've got great talent, great people in the back and all that sort of stuff, but they just don't work well together or don't know how or what to do.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you know the common thread that's been going around for the last 5 years is that Vince needs to take more of a step back? That's been the thing, right? For the last 5 years, Vince needs to take a step back. Let me ask you this, and we'll flip it on his head. Do you not think maybe Vince needs to be more hands-on? Because it's since he's taken a step back that it's started to go down the drain a little bit. It's since he's employed this massive creative team that do all the creative side for him that it has started to go shit. So maybe he needs to be more hands-on. The problem is he's at the age now where he can't be. For me, he either needs to go, I'm going to use my last years left where I can still do this to fix it now. But why doesn't he have... Triple H, Steph, Shane, Pritchard, Heyman, the guys that you trust, have a group of 5 or 6 people, and just Vince should say, I'm going to give you 12 months and you follow what I do and you learn off me. This is how we do it. And if it starts popping again, because Vince has done this 3 or 4 times now where it started to go a bit shit and then bang, he's come up with something and it's just sparked off again. And it will happen again. Either Vince needs to get a small group of people and go, you follow my every move and learn what I do, because I'm not going to be here forever. And when I'm gone, you will have the tools that you need to keep this business going.
Yeah.
Or he needs to sack the creative team completely and hire new. If he can't do it anymore, he needs to find a creative team that can, because the guys that he's employing, like you just said, it doesn't take a genius. It can't be the talent. They've got AJ Styles and Randy Orton and Seth Rollins and Finn Balor and Kevin Owens. And my God, the amount of talent that is on that roster, the talent isn't the problem. If the picture that you put in our Facebook group earlier, when you look at AEW's main guys, and I know you were saying some of them you wouldn't class main guys, and I understand the point you're making. My point is, if you put your top elite main guys from AEW, and then you got the WWE main guys, of what you think, there wouldn't be that many. It'd be quite balanced. WWE have as many top guys as AEW do. They just don't get used right anymore, which is what Mick Foley said. Mick Foley said, back in my day when I signed with WWE, they was great with me, and the creative drive and the path that they took me down was perfect. He said, if I was around now, I don't know if I'd trust WWE with my career. I don't know if I'd trust WWE creative with my career. So we know that the issue isn't with the talent, it's with the creative team. Now, And AEW have the same problem. I think both of, and this is what's getting lost in this. What actual proper story have AEW had recently? Apart from Jericho and MJF, which was a fantastic story, but this is Jericho at the end of the day. He's one of the greatest minds for this business ever. But what other actual proper story have we had? Because I read idiots saying Punk and Darby Allin was a story. It fucking wasn't. It was just threw together.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
You know, or like what was the other one? You know, all of them said, well, Omega and Hangman Adam Page was in a rivalry. That was the story. Yeah, but what happened with it? They didn't even finish the fucking story. They got halfway through and went. They got halfway through telling this story that was looking good. And then they went, right, Adam Page, go fuck yourself because we've got Punk coming, Daniel Bryan's coming, Adam Cole's coming. We don't need you anymore. Off you trot. And that's what's happened. That got halfway through. It was a good story. It was eating up. And then they went, actually, Adam, no. We're moving into a different creative direction because a certain Mr. Punk is back.
Yeah, and this is what's going to happen with AEW is that they're moving into a. I said this on a group the other day. Actually, I said, you know, AEW doing fantastic at the moment, but are they strong enough to weather a storm? WWE have done it many times. Like you said, they've changed creatively. They've weathered really bad episodes, you know, the Chris Benoit death, Eddie Guerrero. They've controversy out the bloody window. And WWE has always been there. And I'm wondering whether is AEW strong enough to weather an incident or something similar, or, you know what I mean, or something bad.
That's a good point.
Are they strong enough to actually turn around and go, we're going to continue going, or are they just going to go downwards? Because at the moment, like you're saying, it's like debut after debut after. Like, how can they be all out?
You know,
how are they going to beat that?
Yeah, I have my problems with AEW and I have my problems with WWE. That was one hell of a pay-per-view. That was fucking hats off to everyone involved. That was a spectacular pay-per-view. It was one of the best wrestling pay-per-views in years. It was absolutely. And do you know what I liked about it? I made the point on here a few weeks ago where I said, AEW, and they have done, and look, they even did it in how many stunners and RKOs on All Out.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but they do still do it. Well, only Randy Orton can do the RKO on WWE TV, so we're going to do 59 in one night. Anything that only one person can do. Mate, look at what thing he did to I forgot his name now, the old Japanese dude who attacked Mox. He did a tombstone, and I know that is one of his moves. I know that it is one of his moves, but at the same time, the way I look at it, it is a bit of a look. WWE only Taker can do a tombstone for you. Well, anyone can do it for us, but for me, it's that any move that WWE go, well, that's Randy's signature, that's Stone Cold's signature, that's Undertaker's signature, that's Triple H's signature. No, we're not going to. You know what I mean? Like. Yeah. AEW, anyone's allowed to do a cutter. Anyone's allowed to do a stunner. You know, the other side of it, which is what I've made the point name months ago, which was the blood and gore and AEW went through a stage where because WWE was going more PG, it was Mox, throw Omega through that light. I know we'll get glass all over him and he'll get cut to shit. Fuck it, do it. Like it was on every show. There was thumbtacks and fucking pizza cutters for fuck's sake with Nick Cage. You know, but it was everything. But it was every night. It was let's just do something crazy because they can't do it on WWE, and it was too much. Do you know what they did on All Out? One match. They had the thumbtacks on the bottom of Matt Jackson's shoe. That was perfect. Perfect. Because it's that you've given it that one spot, that proper brutality, that really nasty, horrible, which a lot of people like, that death match feel, that, the really horrible, nasty shit. 1 5-minute segment of a 4-hour show. Perfect. That's how you do it, though. Because when you enjoy that 5 minutes, you go, oh fucking hell, oh you nasty bastard. Whereas when it was every match on every single show, you go, well, now it's just blood and guts and being violent for the sake of being violent, and this isn't entertaining. In my opinion, it's not entertaining. It's just you're trying to cut someone's flesh and make him bleed for just the sake of it, and then it doesn't mean it. Like, do you remember how powerful it was when Brock Lesnar busted open Randy Orton and Roman Reigns? The visual where you went, oh my god, like how it got you, it took your breath away. Oh, fucking hell, like because they never did it. So when he did it, was fucking bang, bang, bang with his elbows. You go, Jesus Christ! That's a big pay per view, and it was only 1 5-minute segment throughout the whole pay per view where they went down that violent road. That they need to keep doing that though. Is keep it, because when you only see it every now and then, you enjoy it. It's different. But I think I agree with you. I think AEW are going to struggle to top that. I think you made a good point. Can AEW weather a storm? Mate, the only point I'll say about that is, well, it's a question really. WWE, we know what needs to change. Either Vince needs to be more hands-on, or he needs to fucking hire a new creative team because they suck donkey dick. Let's not mince our words. They are shocking.
Yeah.
When you've got Mick Foley, who is I mean, to be honest, the only person who's had his head further up Vince McMahon's ass is Dwayne. I don't mean to, nick CM Punk's pipe bomb, but Mick Foley is definitely a Vince guy, and it has been very, very, very loyal for decades to Vince. So Mick Foley making the cut, you can't take that lightly. I said to Nat earlier, the only person who could have said what he said about the product of WWE, where it would have had an even bigger impact for me, is Taker. I think Taker's the only person who could have made that comment that would have been an even bigger impact. Mick Foley, for me, it's a huge statement that it's him. It's someone that is so loyal to Vince and never slags WWE off, that he said what he said, and he's been so honest. And I respect him for his honesty, and I think WWE need to listen now. But WWE, hire Mick Foley as a fucking writer. You might get some actual good creative stories then. But AEW, in my question to you is, I know Jericho beat MJF, so he can still wrestle on AEW. But I think it's no secret that he's now going to go on a tour with Fozzy. He's going to commentate on Rampage. But I think he's going to take more of a backseat. I think for the foreseeable future, when he's there, I know he's going to be commentating, but I think he's already said that he wants to write. He wants to be a writer.
Yeah.
Chris Jericho has got one of the greatest creative minds in wrestling history. Like, the amount of stuff that had Chris Jericho's imprint on at WWE that no one knows about. And I only know of a few. You probably know of a few. We'll never know of all of it. But we know for a fact that there's some... So Jericho's last 5 or 6 years there, a lot of the major storylines that was a really big hit with the fans was Chris Jericho's brainchild. The guy invented Money in the Bank. Like it was his idea. Like, the amount of things that WWE used to this day that was born inside Chris Jericho's mind is frightening, and I don't think we'll ever know the impact that he's actually had on wrestling as a whole. He's got one of the best minds ever, and WWE didn't use him. It's why I'm a little bit annoyed that Vince didn't say to him, didn't give him what he wanted, more, big spots, but say to him, I want you to write for us. Because that's where his talent really is. As good of a wrestler as he's been, and he has been a great wrestler, it's his mind that is the real gift that he's got. AEW with Chris Jericho, if they make Jericho one of the head writers, there's going to be some incredible storylines coming out of AEW, because he just has a genius level creative mind for the business. His knowledge and things that he can just create in his mind is amazing. Do you think WWE need to hire their own Chris Jericho, someone who has a mind like that?
They definitely need someone. The problem with WWE is they tend to employ people that
aren't wrestlers.
that ain't wrestlers, or not only that, but have no interest or anything to do with wrestling. Like just some person off the street. Oh, do you know what wrestling is? No, you're perfect. But what? Why would you do that? You know what I mean? You know, it just doesn't work. I mean, I don't understand that. I just don't. Oh, I remember they went through a phase years ago. They went through a phase where they employed soap opera writers. So people that weren't necessarily wrestling fans or anything, but wrote episodes for soap operas, for soaps. They did go through a phase like that as well, where they were like, because they could be a little bit different. That's why they did it. So they could think outside the box instead of just thinking wrestling. They could go, oh, maybe we could do this storyline and this storyline. Some of them are crap. Let's put it, let's just do that. You know, they're crap. But I do believe they need someone with a wrestling knowledge in the writers' room. You know, they can't just employ people that have don't know nothing. They need to have someone who's like a head writer and go, oh, we want this and this, and instead of just firing off, just going, well, that's crap. That won't work. It's a wrestling show, not. But
they already have.
You know what I mean? This is wrestling.
But they already have 3 though. This is my issue. Like, and this is what I've been saying. It's like you've made a point on it, but you've made a different point. I'm not having a go at you. I'm having a go at people that make the point that, there's a reason why NXT's numbers are down, and that's why Triple H and Shawn Michaels and Road Dogg clearly aren't good enough, which is why Vincent Pritchard are taking over. No, like people aren't watching NXT because I was late to the party for NXT because I watched Raw and SmackDown. I've watched Raw and SmackDown since I was 3 years old. So I had loads of my mates going, you've got to admit, you've told me, Mick's told me, loads of people have told me, NXT UK is where it's at. Oh my God, NXT UK is incredible. Walter and Ilya Dragunov is one of the best matches, both of them.
Yeah.
Some of the best matches I've ever seen. I still the UK because I've only got a certain amount of time, and unfortunately, I watch AEW, NXT, Raw, and SmackDown, and I go, sorry, NXT UK, you probably are incredible. I've not got time. And because I'm already watching these, you're all right. I'll leave it. And I think people who, a lot of wrestling fans, they've got a life as well. They work and they've got, like us, got families and, stuff like that and other responsibilities. You've only got a certain amount of time. Mate, I've seen 20 minutes of Raw. The first 20 minutes of Raw. I've obviously, because I've not finished Raw, I've not watched NXT. I've not had time. I've physically not had the time. But I think that is the problem with NXT is people go, well, I've watched Raw and SmackDown for that many years, Raw, SmackDown, and then the pay-per-view once a month. I can just about fit all that in if I fast forward the shit. And we all do it. Anyone says they don't, you're lying at your ass. We all fast forward all that shit. Yeah. Mate, as soon as I hear Eva Marie's music, where's that fast forward button? Fucking get rid of this. Come on, get up. That's why NXT's numbers are so low, because people don't watch it because they're human beings are a creature of habit. But people who have watched NXT don't look at, but SmackDown got 2 million and Raw got 1.1 million and AEW got 1 million and NXT got 600,000, so it's shit. No, forget the number. Out of those, flip it on its ass, flip it the other way, look at it from the complete other end. Though out of those 600,000 people that watched NXT, me and you included, people that watched NXT could not argue that even though the most diehard NXT fan couldn't disagree with this, NXT's not been as good the last 2 years as what it was the 5-6 years prior. For whatever reason, since COVID, which is what I think has been the problem. NXT, since COVID happened, has not been as good these last 2 years as what it was. The 5-6 years before was absolutely fucking insane. But even the last 2 years, even though it's not been as good as it was, it's still put on a better wrestling product. They've got more things right than got wrong. The storylines and in-ring wrestling action has been better than Raw and SmackDown consistently. Forget the numbers. Forget that they're getting half of Raw and a third of SmackDown. Forget it. Completely forget it. Out of the people that do watch NXT every week will know that it has been consistently better and more enjoyable to watch every week than Raw and SmackDown. Would you agree?
Yeah.
So, NXT's was, unfortunately, ran by Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and Road Dogg. 3 ex-wrestlers. Obviously, they was in DX together. 3 ex-wrestlers that are now running their own show. And NXT has been consistently better than Raw and SmackDown for a long time. Forget the last 2 years. You look at the last 5 or 6 years, NXT, especially if you go back 4 years, right? NXT every week, shat all over Raw and SmackDown. And so you'd watch all 3 of them. SmackDown was on a Tuesday then. So you go Monday, Raw, Tuesday, NXT Wednesday. You'd watch NXT Wednesday and you'd be like, fucking hell, this has been so much better than Raw and SmackDown every single week, every week without fail. And it's been like that for years. So why have they gone? NXT's ratings aren't good enough, so Vincent and Pritchard are taking over, and Triple H, Road Dogg, and Shawn Michaels, you're out. You're taking a back seat. I don't get it. I don't get it because as someone who watches NXT, the beauty about me as well is I'm not loyal to NXT because you get NXT is the best one. Like I enjoy watching NXT. Yeah. Like, but you're more like me. You enjoy NXT, but would you say I'm a massive fan of NXT? Don't like Raw or SmackDown, so I'm not watching them.
No.
You watch all 3.
Yeah.
So we're unbiased. We're not biased because we don't just watch NXT. We watch all 3 and enjoy all 3 shows. So if we watch all 3 and go, NXT is the most consistent performer, it's not because we're biased, it's because it's better. Yeah. And I think you'd struggle to find someone who watches all 3 shows every week, Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, watches all 3 every single week. You'd really struggle to find a fan that when Raw or SmackDown has been better than NXT. You would struggle. Because in terms of storytelling and in-ring wrestling, NXT has been miles ahead for years. Yeah. So I don't understand why, and I'm furious that it's now a Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard production now, NXT moving forward. Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Road Dogg, go on, backseat, get back there, you're not good enough. It's been the best fucking one for 6 years. What do you mean? What do you mean you're not good enough? No, I'm not being funny. Yeah. You 2 aren't fucking good enough.
Well, I said that. I think I said this to Mike as well on the group, and he was like, "Oh, it's the death of NXT," and I was like, "Well, we don't know what the new style is like. We don't know what it's like yet. It's good. We can say we've watched Raw and SmackDown. We can say, well, Vince and Pritchard are crap, right? But then again, like you say, we don't really know if there's other people." You know what I mean? If there's other people there pulling certain strings to make it look crap. Whether it's, we haven't seen NXT, and yes, it's sort of an end of an era. But if it changes and it becomes better, then it was a good change.
Absolutely, yeah.
If it stays like it is, because it has got, like I say, we watch it all the time. And it has, for me, NXT has become stagnant. It's become the monotonous, as a show. Yeah. Obviously, the wrestling aspect, the storylines, and the wrestling aspect hasn't changed. The better out of the 3. But as a whole show, I think it's slightly got a bit stagnant. And which is, I think, what also as well, it's in that weird spot on a Wednesday night. AEW did really well there, and they should have done. But NXT slightly suffered, and it continued to suffer as well. And like you say, I've only got enough time. If they started playing Rampage or Impact again on TV, I think I would struggle to fit it all in. with fit, day-to-day stuff, other TV programs that I watch and that, I think I'd struggle to fit everything in. There's only so much time in a day you can watch it,
Mate, honestly, I only watch them for, see, Rampage has really thrown a works because I've not got the time, mate. When I had that break from watching AEW because it was just boring me. When I was only watching, and to be honest, I'll be completely honest, I've watched for the last year, I've probably watched the equivalent of about 40 to 45 minutes of Raw each week. The rest of it gets fast forwarded. I'm just not interested. I've even got to the point where when I know it's going to be a good match, because it's two good wrestlers, I can't be asked. I'll fast forward it to find out who won. That is because I've just not got that. It's like, let's get it watched. Yeah. NXT, I never fast forward because I always enjoy it. SmackDown, I don't really fast forward that much of SmackDown. Raw, for me, is too long. It's 3 hours and it's just too long. And it feels like it's being dragged out. It feels like half of that show is filler because they've not got anything interesting.
Yeah, because I think that's where Raw suffers. If anything, you look at all the stuff, all of the wrestling, Raw it suffers because of that extra hour, which even themselves have trouble filling because they had Raw Underground at one point. And before then, it was something else. They consistently had trouble filling 3 hours of TV, or 2 hours if you cut out the commercials. But I think like I said, I think they've struggled to fill it. Even now, I think they struggle. And not only that, 3 hours is a long time. Some pay-per-views years ago were only like 2.5 hours long.
I know, 3 hours. Have you heard what Nick Khan said?
What? That he would like it to be like 8 hours long? Or
yeah, 6 hours. Yeah, he was asked. A lot of fans think that 3 hours is too long for Raw, and he went, "I disagree. I think it's the opposite. I think 3 hours isn't enough. If I had my way, I'd make Raw 6 hours long."
He said he would make it 6 hours or 8 hours long, but then that's money. It's generating money by being on TV.
Because that's one of the things. Mate, this is the way he thinks because he don't give a fuck about wrestling. He's a money guy. No. He's an accountant. It's why I'm so happy that Ed Woodward's fucking out of my club this month. 31st September, Ed Woodward is gone. Bye because he's a banker. He's an accountant. Yeah. He knows fuck all about football. And Nick Khan knows jack shit about wrestling. He's an accountant with a massive ego, and the guy's a bit of a turd, if you ask me. Anyway, Nick Khan, this is the way he thinks. We as wrestling fans go, right, at least an hour of that 3 hour show is filler. So make it 2 hours, because in 2 hours you might be squeezing bits in, but it's going to be good. At least you're going to be putting on a good show. It's not going to be boring because it's not going to be just filler nonsense the 24/7 title. We've got 10 minutes to fill our truth. Go out there and just, because that's what they do. Oh, yeah, we need to fill a bit of time. Go on. You go out there.
Go on, put Reggie out there, make him bounce around a few times. And
go and flip and, whatever. It's like, that is what they do. But they do it for at least an hour's worth of Raw. So the wrestling fan and us go, well, limit it then. If you're struggling to fill 3 hours, knock it down to 2. Nick Khan goes, but 6 hours, more money because of viewership on. We're taking up a longer slot on TV, which means that channel, Fox or USA, whichever one it is, has to pay us more money. But here's the thing: the fans they're 6 hours. They'll have to buy more drinks. They'll have to buy more food.
Yeah.
While they're there, they might go, I weren't going to buy that shirt, but okay, I'm here for another 5 hours. And I mean, go on, I'll make it worth my while being here for 6 hours. I'll buy that shirt. Like that's like, mate. Honestly, I'm surprised that he's not turned WWE arenas into fucking train stations over here. You've got to pay to have a piss. Can you believe that? Going off topic, Piccadilly train station in Manchester City Centre. I don't know what it's like in other parts of the country. You got to pay 30p to have a piss. You've got to pay to have a piss.
It's the same in London. In some places, you have to pay money to have a piss.
What? Yeah. What do you mean you've got to pay to have a wee?
If WWE could, they'd charge you. You know they would.
That's what I'm saying. Honestly, I'm surprised Nick Khan ain't gone, right, them toilets, get a lock on it. You got to put $1 in there. And $2 if you need a shit, you smell it. I am genuinely surprised that he's not paying people to have a piss and a shit. He's just, like, that's all he thinks about is money. But that is why he wanted it to be a 6-hour show. Because, like I said, if you're there if you turn a 3-hour show into a 6-hour show, you're buying at least 3 more drinks and food. Because you 3 hours. If you eat something before you go in, you can then go for a meal after. If you're there for 6 hours, you're gonna have to buy food there.
Yeah.
Like, it's all just how can I make as much money as possible, and it's wrong. Like, I'm more of a WWE fan than an AEW fan. So are you, but I genuinely believe that AEW care and Tony Khan cares about putting on the best wrestling show that they possibly can that night. It means something to him. I want these people that have come to see us, I want to put on the best wrestling show that I possibly can for them. And WWE don't do that anymore. It's just a money-making. It's like the atmosphere. Like I said a few weeks ago, one of my best mates, Carl, you listen to an AEW crowd, it feels like a wrestling crowd. WWE doesn't anymore because half of it's kids. But it's not just that. It's not just the kids being there. Like I said to you 2 weeks ago, it's the parents. They don't give a shit about wrestling. It's the son. I love John Cena. I love Cena. Mum, Dad, they're sat there like that. I can't wait to get home from here and go and watch Emmerdale and Coronation Street. This is shit. That's what the parents are thinking. They don't care.
Well, not only that, even by other franchises as well. It's like you sit there and you're like, oh, they've got John Cena and they're forcing him down our throats. Oh, they've got Roman Reigns and they're fucking forcing them onto us. And we said it recently about Drew McIntyre. And us as a fan, we get frustrated. But the kids, they love it. I mean, like I said, I remember when everyone was chanting, we hate Cena, right? And Cena was like the hated dog of WWE and everyone hated him. Yeah. And every time we come out, he booed, right? I said, if you went to any school, and you asked them, do you watch wrestling? Yeah. Who's your favourite wrestler? I guarantee you 90% of them would turn around and go, John Cena's my favourite. He's coming out each week, he's getting booed. Yeah, he's my favourite. That's what kids are like. Like you say, but, you take your kids there, it's a day out, isn't it? It's like a day out, it's an experience.
Yeah. But though at the end of the day, kids aren't going to create a proper wrestling atmosphere. No. They're not. The kids. And the parents who couldn't give two monkeys about wrestling is just there because they're a decent parent who wants the kids to be happy, so they've took them. Yeah. But they don't care. Mate, imagine if me and you were there and if you smell, we fucking off like, come on. You'd be going ape shit. These would go, who's this knob? They don't care. They don't care. So the atmosphere's flat. It just doesn't feel the way that it did.
Yeah.
What AEW has going for it is Tony Khan cares about putting on the best wrestling show that he can. And I've seen this a lot, and it is one of the things that I agree with because I've spoken to a few people that have been to many, many AEW events now. I know a guy who was there for All Out, actually, the lucky shit. And it was saying, he still goes to WWE events as well, and I genuinely believe this fact to be true. At WWE, the atmosphere, especially at Raw and SmackDown, is shit. Right? It's just shit. It's dead. There's no atmosphere anymore. Like Colin told me the last time he went, they didn't even. This was a UK tour, so you'd think it'd be fully sold out. It was half empty. They had to move all the fans to the other side of the arena so that it looked full on TV.
Well, that is a problem that has plagued the WWE for actually, well, for at least the last 10 years, at least. Because I remember about 10 years ago, they were saying, "Oh, we're in the arena site and it's not a full house." And then when you saw people taking photos on Instagram or places like that, it was half empty. And then they said, "We've just been upgraded to the front row from back because they haven't got enough people." So they stuck them all in front, so the camera could see them all. But majority of the arena was empty, and this was before AEW come along. WWE struggled like this for years. I just hope now that AEW's come along, WWE's like, because at the moment they're like, this is what I'm going to push a tape back to me. I'm going to show you what they're like. Yeah. Right, so WWE like, oh, we've beaten Impact, we've beaten TNA, we've beaten WCW.
Yeah.
You know, and they're like, oh, but what about you're putting out shit? What are you going to watch? What are you going to watch? There's nothing else there. So they've just gone like this for so long now. Now what's happened? They're probably like, AEW, who's AEW? Now after that, they've gone, what's going on here? You know? Why are they taking all our guys? What's all this about? So
things, do you know what, mate? Things will change. Things will get better because it has to. If it doesn't improve, WWE will get left behind, and AEW will be the new WWE, and it will take that spot. Vince will not let that happen.
I was talking to a friend of mine in the pub at the weekend about wrestling, and he agrees with me, and I hope some people do. Some people might not do, but I said, because he goes, you're constantly hearing, aren't you? That's it, RIP, WWE's going down this. Sorry, WWE's going to close up, you know. And I said to him, the day WWE closes, right, is the day that wrestling dies for TV.
Yeah.
Because investors on TV and TV channels, they were like, so the biggest company in the world couldn't close up. Why? Because of the people. And then what that will happen is it will have a detrimental effect because people will just lose interest in wrestling.
Because then TV broadcasters will go, WWE was this monstrous machine for so many years. It was so big that if they've gone under and closed shop, people aren't interested in wrestling anymore. So they're not going to look at other wrestling promotions because they'll go, well, people obviously aren't interested in wrestling anymore.
And I guarantee as well, that if it did close, the viewership wouldn't change. Like, people wouldn't go, oh, well, now WWE's gone, I'll watch AEW because it's the only thing now. I think people would just switch off and go, oh, I can't be bothered.
Look, what I was going to say was the guy that I've spoke to, and he said it to me a few times, but I do agree with it. It doesn't matter at AEW. They know that they'll go, that weren't the best. Tony Khan probably has tried his best to give them the best, but you watch it and you go, that episode of Dynamite weren't good at all. But they still enjoyed it. It was still a great atmosphere. They still had fun. Doesn't matter that it weren't the best show. They all loved it and enjoyed it because the atmosphere was electric. It's what WWE used to be like, and it's not like that anymore. You know, and it's not been like that for a while. And I think the problem that it was them going to PG. After what happened to Benoit happened, it started going PG. But they did start targeting things towards children because that's where a lot of the money was going. Because, like, you're a collector, so you're different. I'm a massive wrestling fan. How many figures have I got? I used to have a load when I was a kid. How many do I have now? I have one. I have my Finn Balor Demon King because it's a limited edition. It looks cool. How many belts do I have? None, because I can't afford them. I've not, you know, if I will eventually buy a belt, I'll save up and I'll buy a belt. I'll buy one, and that'll be it. I'll never buy another because you collect them. It's different for you. It's your passion. You enjoy collecting them. I'm not going to spend my money on them when I'd rather put my money into other places because whereas it's children mainly that want all the action figures and the merchandise and the belts and all that. So they've targeted it to attract as many children as possible so that at Christmas They're going, Mom, Dad, can I have the new belt? Can I have the new AJ Styles figure?
Yeah.
So that's why, but that is why it started going further and further downhill, because us, the hardcore, die-hard wrestling fans,
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
It's not aimed at us now. It's almost like they try and put one match on that's aimed at us, and the rest of it's just like it's more aimed for kids. Because they want to get as much kid involvement as well. Because it's where all the money is. That's where they're going to get the merch sales from.
Well, sort of. I have to agree with some of that. Some of it I don't, because I think what happens is WWE is now so big, it's got this massive spotlight on it, right? So I think if they've done anything, like they're with a lot of charities, aren't they? Connor's Cause, Make a Wish, all that sort of stuff, right? And I think if they went down the controversial stand again, or the Impact, or the Attitude Era, or something like that, a bit more racy, there'd be spotlights on there, and there'd be people going, "Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that?" You know, you're supposed to be this, you know, the figure of like the top, you know, but you're doing stuff like this. You know, it doesn't look good for people. You know, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If they like, if you know, if, I don't know, but you know what I mean? It's sort of like they've gotten so big that they've got the biggest spotlight on them now, so they can't do. You know, if it came out that that WWE knew that that Bray Wyatt or something happened to him, and they knew about it, and they done nothing, right? Do you reckon, you know, they would be slated for that? They would be slated for it. They were over Chris Benoit, over Eddie Guerrero, and people like that, and then people were turning off because obviously it came out with Eddie that it was to do with continuous blows to the head and stuff like that. Yeah. And it came out, and WWE was the spotlight on that. And so I think they went, well, we have to change now.
Yeah,
we did it for so long. We have to change.
But this was a point I was making before. They haven't completely changed, because it was only 3 years ago that Dean Ambrose nearly died because they ran him into the. He was asking for time off. No, you're not having time off. So then he got a staph infection and he nearly died. So they still don't do it right.
No,
I think what Tony Khan does do well is he's saying to them, his top talents, he's saying, I want you every week. The second you need a break, you tell me, you can have as long as you need.
Yeah.
That's the right way of doing it. Because these guys, for 12 months, will bust their ass, run the bodies into the ground for AEW and for Tony. And then after 12 months of punishing their own body, they'll go, boss, I could do with a month off or 6 weeks off. Right, thank you. Thank you for what you've done for me and my company for the last 12 months, 2 years. You go and have a month or two off of rest and recover your body. That's what should happen with WWE. And it doesn't.
No.
You've got Punk and Ambrose, who both, their health got that bad where Punk could have died if it had carried on, and Ambrose was in a coma and literally the doctors told his wife that he had a 50-50 chance of survival. Yeah, that's how serious it was, and that was WWE's fault. Ambrose was saying, "My elbow is messed up. It pus coming out of it, and it's infected this and the other. I'll be fine. Strap it up, you'll be fine."
Yeah,
he nearly fucking died. So, yes, after Benoit, they did it. The type of show that they wanted to put on became more PG, but the way that they treated some of the wrestlers was very, very much the same. It was still dangerous, and they still ran them into the ground.
Oh yeah, they're still doing that now. But you know what I mean? It's a bit. Yeah, it's a funny thing because they've gone right. We'll go more PG.
Yeah.
And nowadays, nowadays, Jesus, if anything happened nowadays,
Well, I've got 2 more questions for you, Kev, and then we'll have to wrap up, I'm afraid, mate, because my mum's downstairs. 2 more questions. One, my last point is about Owens, so remind me if I forget, because I'll do what I mention it. First, Adam Cole. I am gutted. I am gutted, but I do understand at the same time. Let me ask you this: Adam Cole, right? these are the rumors, but it's come from that many people, and Fightful have spoke about it as well. And as soon as Fightful get involved, it's usually bang on, because for me, Sean Ross Sapp and Fightful are the only place that don't just talk shit. They'll only ever say anything when they know, when they know. So it's probably true. Adam Cole was happy to stay at Raw. They'd offered him a fucking lot of money. It was Raw that he was being brought up to, and he was offered a hell of a lot of money. It was on the road, and Adam Cole was like, fine with that. He'd figured out that he'd still get 1 day a week where he'd be able to see Britt, and he was like, right, I'll do that. His dream was to wrestle for WWE. This was what he wanted. But apparently Vince turned around to me and went, but one condition, you can have all this money, I'm going to strap a rocket ship to your back and fucking send you to the top of the wrestling world.
Yeah.
One condition, you can't twitch.
Yeah.
And he went, no. Like, but here's my question to you. Why did Vince have such a problem with Adam Cole live streaming on Twitch? Xavier Woods is allowed to do it. AJ Styles is allowed to do it. So what's the problem with Adam Cole doing it?
I don't know. I did see the same report as well.
I don't get that.
It was Twitch was the
problem.
deal breaker. He never wanted to give it up, and he was still streaming even with WWE. So I don't know if it was, but I think. Pardon?
But why was he asked to if AJ Styles and Xavier Woods are allowed to?
I don't know. I would imagine that WWE might have turned around and said, we want some of the revenue from that because you're using the name or whatever.
Yeah.
And he probably went, well, no, I want 100% of that because that's my Twitch. And they're like, you know what I mean?
See,
but
what's difficult about that if he has done that, though? His actual Twitch is called Adam Cole. It's not called Austin Jenkins, which would be his real name. No. Whereas, like, that was Zelina Vega. That's what she did very, very cleverly. And it's what Xavier Woods has done cleverly. Xavier Woods is up, down, down. It's not got his wrestling name on it or anything that's got WWE stamps. Zelina Vega uses a real name, Thea Trinidad. So, again, that's fine. But I think AJ Styles just uses AJ Styles, I think so.
I mean, they started clamping down on this when a couple of years ago, was it? With Paige and everyone, they started clamping down on it.
Yeah.
I think they're going to reverse that in the next year or two, because a lot of people will go, well, I'll go to AEW, or I'll go to Impact, or I'll go somewhere else, and I can still use my Twitch and my social media.
Yeah.
And WWE will probably be in a bit of a sticky situation. But yeah, your last point, Kevin Owens.
Yeah, my last point, Kevin Owens. I want to cry.
So
just for the viewers, let's just give the viewers a 10-second silence to just think. And honestly, I'm absolute like this can't happen.
Well, so his contract was supposed to expire in 2024, but during the pandemic, they cut everyone's contracts down.
No, I understand that, but for me, what's making me worry is apparently, and I've seen a screenshot of it, and to me, it looked real. On Instagram and on Twitter, he changed his location to "I'm almost there."
Yeah, and
so he's basically saying, "I'm going to leave," and
I think he put something in as well, didn't he, about the stable he was in with Adam Cole and others.
Oh,
I can't remember what the stable was called.
Bullet Club.
And it got quickly deleted. But like you said, I think if he goes to AEW, he'll get lost. I mean, where would he go?
That's what I said to you before.
Adam Cole.
Yeah, this is what I said to you before. Kevin Owens is my favorite WWE superstar, and he is one that is held back. Like, for me, I would, and I want it to happen in WWE, but I would love to see Seth Rollins wrestle for AEW to see what he's capable. Because Seth Rollins is capable of a lot more than what we get to see. Kevin Owens is capable of so much more than what we get to see him do because he's not allowed. Look, there's no coincidence that. Do you remember when he was the surprise last man on Ciampa's team for War? You rewatch that and you watch the first 30 seconds of Owens enter that War Game cell. He does 3 moves that he's never done since coming up to Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah.
3 moves that he's not done because he's not allowed. They're all, they're all suffocated. Everything's just,
I think,
all protected.
The good thing about this is I think they're going to have to change. WWE has to change now.
Yeah.
But the thing that wind me up about this whole thing is if these people go to AEW and then they're not used like they want to be, like they should have been, because that was that's the biggest gripe, wasn't it? For lots of them, where they weren't getting used in WWE. I want to wrestle, but I can't. I'm not allowed. They didn't need me, and then I'm thinking that may happen with AEW. That may happen where they were. Well, we've only got 2 hours of TV.
Yeah, I mean, look,
you in.
You said it beautifully before about Cole. Even though Kevin Owens is my favourite, I'd love to see him on AEW because we'd be able to see what he is actually capable of. I'd rather see what he's capable of. I'd rather WWE just take the brush out of the fucking ass and say, Kev, go out and do whatever you want. You're amazing.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this, and he's my favourite, Owens. I absolutely fucking love him. I think he's incredible. But he has the it thing. He has it in fucking buckets. But my question to you is, can you blame Owens if he does leave? Because as good as he is, since them taking the belt off him, what have they given him?
Yeah.
Because if this was me, Owens should have been winning a Royal Rumble and would have been main event of WrestleMania and winning a belt again. He'd have had a bigger United States run. He'd have had a bigger intercontinental run. He'd have been winning Money in the Bank. He's that good. How is he? He's not done any of that. He's not main event of the Mania. He's not been anywhere. He's usually second or third match. He's not won Money in the Bank. He's not won a Royal Rumble. He has had the United States and the Intercontinental title for 3 or 4 weeks, and then they take it off him and give it to fucking Apollo Crews or something stupid. Like, this is my problem. What they give him over the last 5 years? They've given him jack shit. And when you've got a guy that good, you can't give him nothing.
Yeah.
I'd look, but if he goes to AEW, is he going to be right there at the very top of that roster? Talent-wise, he should be. I don't think you can say Adam Cole's miles better than him. Kenny Omega's no, not in terms of talent, they're not. But the way that he's viewed, people will. Punk has got a bigger fan base than Owens. Adam Cole has got a bigger fan base than Kevin Owens. Omega, Jericho, Bray Wyatt, fucking Daniel Bryan. They've all got. There's that many people that have got bigger fan bases. It's why, even though Miro's got the belt, I never get the feeling that the AEW fans love him the way that they should do. Given how good he is, he doesn't really get that much of a reaction because he's not really got that big of a following. As good as he is, Owens fits in that category. I feel like more WWE fans would love Owens more than what the AEW fans would. I think on AEW they would be like, "Yeah, Owens is here," but they wouldn't really care, not the way they do about Punk and others. What I think has to happen is Vince needs to offer him a massive contract. He needs to offer him more money and say, Kev, we're in the draft. We're bringing you over to Raw, and you are taking the belt off Lashley. You're gonna win next year's Rumble, and you're gonna main event Saturday night of WrestleMania, and you're going to win the belt at Mania. That's what you give Kevin Owens, because I think A, he's good enough, and B, he deserves it.
Yeah. But anyway, should we leave it there?
Yeah, that's enough.
Yeah. We'll be back on Sunday.
Yeah.
But I've been Kev.
I've been Dan.
And we'll see you at the next time.
See you soon, guys. See you soon.
Yeah.